Oh, we're going to try and go across the country, get the views, the temperature of views ahead of the State of the Nation address, and speak to our reporters there and get, what the provinces are expecting from this address that's happening at about 7 p.m. tonight. Let's start off in KwaZulu-Natal. It's where we find our reporter Mlungisi Khumalo. Mlu, thank you very much indeed for your time. Let's just find out what's happening in KwaZulu-Natal. What's the expectation there?
Thank you very much, Blaine. Well, like you said, today is a very, very big day for everybody across the country. But most importantly, the people that are going to be eyeing this SONA in particular, it's going to be young people. Young people in particular, those who are at institutions of higher learning. Now, Blaine, you also recall this in KwaZulu-Natal just the day before yesterday. We had a young man who was allegedly gunned down because he was calling for the institution to register students that did not have any funding or rather finances to be registered at university. You'll also recall that yesterday the EFF Student Command were also mourning one of their own, and they've actually vowed to continue fighting for these particular students. Now, also quite interesting enough about this whole debate about free education is that now students that now attend private institutions of higher learning have also now entered the fray. They are calling for the president of the country, Mr. Ramaphosa, to also fund them. They said as if the president can fund public institutions, why cannot the president also fund private institutions? Now, you also recall that last year we had millions or rather thousands of matriculates who applied at the various tertiaries or institutions of higher learning, and some of those matriculates were not taken in public institutions, partly because the institutions were either full or because they did not have the required marks in order to be in those particular institutions. And already in KwaZulu-Natal, young people have started this debate, calling for the president and asking him, why can you not fund us students who go to private institutions? Now, you also recall that the former president of the ANC, as well as the president of the country, in the eve of the NASDAQ ANC elective conference, he announced that there will be free education from across the board. And of course, last year, President Ramaphosa, in his maiden address, in his inaugural SONA speech, emphasized that governments would prioritize giving free education. But now, getting back to this whole entire issue of funding for private institutions, I've got a young man with me in Mabaso who's been heading this debate in KwaZulu-Natal, and it's a very, very quite interesting debate. I mean, they're saying that it's not fair on them. But anyway, let me just pose these questions to him. Thank you very much for your time, Mabaso. Just briefly, you have called for the president to also fund private institutions. Why is that?
Mlu, thank you for having me here this morning. We are calling on the president to fund us as private institutions. Why? Most of us have been actively working with the ANC, to say, because that's a government in party right now. So we have been working with the ANC or voluntarily in the ANC. We feel like we also have rights to be funded just like those in public institutions. One of the things that would send a student into private institution is not because they want that, it's because they are forced by the situation to. Because we registered with DUT, we registered or applied with KZN, but we are never accepted, so we are forced to go to these private institutions, and as you would know that they do not come cheap, so we are forced to work on weekends. A lot of students, for an example, at Rosebank College Durban campus, a majority of them, to say, they are working on weekends. If you go to CCI Rich site in Umhlanga, you see them every morning on Saturday and Sunday going there to work, and then they still have 5 days to come back. So we're asking the president to fund us as well.
Mtunga, I understand that private institutions actually cost almost 5 times more compared to public institutions. What are some of the troubles or the problems that you go through in trying to secure those funds to educate yourselves?
Like I've said, that we are forced to go work. So you see, some of our parents, they do not work. We are funded by our aunts. Like me, for an example, I am funded by my aunt, and then I am also forced to write articles as an internship, an intern journalist. And then the money that I get there, I cannot spend it on myself. I have to help her fund me at school. So it's like the challenge. Going back to your question, the challenge that we face as students is that we also have to fund ourselves as well.
Mtunga, you are a journalism student, and I currently understand it's at the moment you are currently just doing part-time jobs, writing articles. But from your own research, how vast is this problem where students are not accepted in public institutions, whereby they have to go to private institutions?
Chief, it is very big. It is very big. If you check now, the private institutions back in town right now, I'm talking from Bria, Gemelin, Rosebank College, there's a lot of numbers and a lot of working that they have a day, because students are forced to work from UNISA after being rejected, to work from DUT after having rejected. And one of the thing that I would say it impacts a lot on that, it is because you have students there who are funded by the government. So I would like to say they do not take their education as serious. So we are now going there because these students are still there. Next year you find them there. If they fail, the government is still going to pay for them. They will still be there, and we are forced to go to private institutions.
How eager is the drive for you guys who go to private institutions to go to public institutions? How eager are you?
Bruh, it is one of the things that we wish, it's a dream to us to be in those institutions. A lot of us are forced to do higher certificates because, as you would know, they take 1 year. We have bachelors that say you are allowed to study at UKZN, but we are forced to go to private institutions to obtain that 1 year qualification, and then you go back to UKZN. So instead of doing a 3-year course, you are now forced to do 5 years.
Thank you very much. That was Nhlanhla Mabaso just briefly articulating his view, saying that as young people, they feel as though they have been treated unfairly. They feel as though that the president needs to now also come into the fray and also look after them as well. Now, also on the whole issue of free education, we believe that this morning 4 members of the EFF Student Command are expected to appear at the Durban Magistrate Court charged for various transgressions. Over, back to you in studio, Plain.
Yeah, Mlu, I just want to touch on that, the appearance of these 4 people that have been arrested and will appear in court. What can we expect both inside and outside court? Are we expecting crowds to gather outside?
No, we're definitely expecting crowds. In fact, just after this, we are just going to make our way there. Now, you also remember that the EFF actually converged outside the Durban University of Technology, mourning one of their own. And during that particular gathering, they also called for the person who shot 21-year-old Mlungisi Khumalo to be prosecuted. They also rallied for other members of the EFF Student Command from the various universities across KwaZulu-Natal to make their way into the Durban High Court in order to try and support those that have been arrested. Now, you also recall, Plain, that nobody yet has been charged for the death of 21-year-old Mlungisi Khumalo. According to the spokesperson of the police, Thembe Mpele, she says that investigations are currently ongoing. And of course, yesterday, DUT held a press conference in Umhlanga, also condemning the usage of live ammunition on students, saying that not in this democracy, no students should be faced with a security that's actually carrying a gun. And of course, like I mentioned earlier on, that we'll be making our way then to the Durban Magistrate Court, where we also expect to see a large gathering of members of the EFF Student Command, as they told us yesterday, Plain.
Mlu, appreciate your reporting. Thank you very much indeed for that. Mlungisi Khumalo live for us from